Hello and welcome back to the last video in chapter 8. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to upload our website to a live server so that this is actually on the internet. Up until this point of our development process, we've been using a virtual server on our own computer called Examp or Champ, I think it's pronounced, but I call it Examp because that's how I do. Now, the thing is this website is not accessible to anyone else besides you on your machine when Examp's running. So in order to make this available, if you want to remember way back in chapter 1 when we talked about how the internet works, we need to get this on a server or a computer that is online all the time and that has access for incoming and outgoing connections to it. And so we need a server that has Apache or PHP, the ability to handle PHP. So it needs either Nginx or Apache. And we're using MySql, so we need MySql installed. So we need a MySql database, and we need all this on a server that's online, so that our computers don't have to be up, and it doesn't depend upon our internet network. Now there are ways to serve this from your own house, but it's not reliable, and if it's an important website, you don't want to do that. All right, so let me go ahead and let's just high level start talking over some things that we're going to need. So I'm going to switch over to my screen here. And first of all, I do want to, let me go back to my camera because this is important. Today in this video, you're going to see some sensitive information on me. There's no way that I can show you how to upload these to a server, and I don't really feel like going through my editor and blurring out a bunch of stuff. So be good people and don't do anything dirty. I'm going to try to delete everything that you might see today anyway. But if you catch me in something, I guess it's my own fault. But listen, man, this is incredibly hard to do anyway. So don't make my life harder. That's all I'm saying. All right, so let's switch back over to the screen here. And what we have here is our local stuff running. So what we need is the easiest way to get started with a server is to use some sort of shared hosting. This is likely going to be your cheapest option with getting server space that's online. Now there are some server spaces that are real basic that you could use that are free. Oftentimes those will implant ads and things like that into your site. But for this, what I'm going to do is recommend that you go ahead and get a cheap server if you can afford it. Right now, Namecheap, Namecheap.com, if you go to hosting and shared, you could get a hosting that will host up to 3 websites, 20 gigabytes of space, and a domain name included for the first year for $2 a month. Now you have to pay for the whole year, so this is going to end up being like, you know, $24 or something like that. And so this is probably the best and cheapest option. Now it looks like you can do it monthly, so that'd be $3.65 US monthly. Now there may be cheaper options, and a couple other ones that you may look into are HostGator and GoDaddy have shared hosting plans, or you can just Google cheap shared hosting and see what you can find out there. But just make sure that you can go ahead and sign up and have PHP and Apache running. Most of these are all going to have, like if you look down through here, most of them are all going to have different things that you could do. Now you could contact them live to ask them questions to make sure it's going to have everything you need, but you can go down here and see more information and things like that. You can see the scripts that they have, server features. So we can see that this is running PHP on Apache, and it's running you could choose a version between 7.0 and 7.4, and then they have Node, Python, Ruby, MariaDB, and so yeah, that's the server features. It looks, let's see, database features. So they have MySql databases, and you can have up to 50 of those databases, and it comes with PHP-MyAdmin. So we've been using PHP-MyAdmin on localhost, and that's the same way that you can manage your database on live. And so that's all we need. So the cheapest option here for us has everything that we need for this website. So I've gone ahead and purchased that this one, and so when I drag mine over here, you may in fact end up seeing some stuff I don't want you to see. So that sucks. But also you're going to need it's going to be easiest if we have a way. We need to upload our files to this server, and probably the easiest way to do that it's kind of the old school way, and that's fine. And I think we should do it the old school way. Go ahead and get FileZilla, and FileZilla is a free FTP solution. Now, what is FTP? Now we've used HTTP, and we've used whether you know it or not, we use SMTP. So this is FTP, and FTP is File Transfer Protocol. So it allows us to transfer files over the internet, okay? Yeah, butter coffee. That sounds gross, doesn't it? I'm on a diet, and I can drink this butter coffee stuff in the morning so that I have very low carbs, and it doesn't spike my insulin. And so it helps keep you full, because I'm also fasting until lunch every day. So I eat dinner and then I don't eat again until lunch, and it's helping me lose weight. So first world problem, I guess. Most people in the United States are overweight, and then it's because all of our food is processed and disgusting, and it's cheap. But if you eat the cheap food, you pay the price with your health. All right, that was just a little side note. Sorry about that. I'm tired. So at any rate, we need FileZilla. So go ahead and download that for your platform here. And I've got mine open here, and we will be looking at FileZilla and how to use that when we get there, okay? So the next thing that I want to do is we need to get organized a little bit. And first and foremost, after you're going to need to buy this hosting. Now this comes with a free domain, and it makes it super easy, because it's like, do you want to connect this domain to this hosting? It's like, yeah, and you just click it. And you don't have to set up the domain or any of the A records that we had talked about or anything like that. It just automatically does that. Maybe we'll look into some of that a little bit. But let's go now and let's see. I bought freeskills.website. I'm not sure if it's going to be available yet, but let's look at it. freeskills.website. Now I bought this domain for us to... Okay, it says it can't be reached. That's okay. We're gonna go ahead and take care of all of these issues that come up. Now this is going to be a situation where I don't know what kind of issues we're gonna face here, and so you might see me thinking a little bit, or you might see me trying out some stuff that don't work, and you may come across some of this as well. So I'm gonna leave it all in case you experience this, just so you know that this is part of the process. So let me go ahead and once you have purchased this, you'll log in. Make sure, for God's sakes, that you use a good password so no one can hack into your thing. I suggest using some sort of auto-generated password and storing it on some sort of password manager that's encrypted. All right, so once you've done that, I'm just gonna go ahead and drag. Well, let me make sure I don't have anything crazy open here. I'm gonna go ahead and drag my other browser over here that has my actual information going. And you can see that in my hosting list, once I've logged into my dashboard, I can go to my hosting list, and I have two here. And this freeskills.website is the one I just purchased for us to use it as an example. Now this one right here, it has go to cPanel. And what's really cool is all of these shared hostings are going to have this cPanel interface, so that we can actually use a user interface to manage our hosting, and we don't have to use it all through terminal or command line, much like you would have to with like something like, you know, a DigitalOcean or a more advanced web service. So if I click that, that's going to take me to my cPanel. Now you can see all sorts of stuff here you're not supposed to see about me, but let's go ahead and start working here. The first thing that we're going to need to be able to do inside of our server is we need to transfer all of our files over. Okay, so if you look in our file manager, so they got a little file manager built in here. And the way this works is all of your files, so you can see there's etc, there's all sorts of files in here that you don't want to mess with or delete. But all of in this instance, all of your files need to go in this public underscore HTML directory. Now, whatever you put in this public underscore HTML directory is going to be the files that are served up by default when you visit your IP address or your domain that's connected to this hosting account. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and delete everything in here. And you know what? No, I'm not yet. But we have this file manager open, so I'm going to leave this open and I'm going to go back here. And the other thing we need to do is we need to have a way for us to connect to our server. So let's go ahead now and let's create an FTP user in our cPanel, and they give us the ability to do that. If you go down, I miss this all the time. I don't use cPanel that often, but if you look around, you will see security. Nope. Here's databases, files, FTP accounts. Okay, so it's under files. Click on FTP accounts. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create an FTP account, a user, and it's going to be whatever user we choose at freeskills.website. And there you go. You just see my email address there. I'll try to blur that out, I guess. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and make up a name here, and I'm just going to call this, how about you call it something, whatever. I'm going to call this FTP at freeskills.website. Now this isn't very secure because it's a really easy one to guess, but I'm going to put a strong password in. And the way that I do that, I use this Bitwarden, and so I'm going to use the generator here, and I can regenerate this password as many times as I want. I'm going to find a really crazy password, and then I'm going to paste that in here. Now I am creating this password, and you guys are going to be able to log into my crap like this. So what I'm going to do here is say FTP Namecheap, and then for the user here, I just called it FTP at freeskills.website. And then I'm going to paste that same password in here that I generated. And I'm going to save that. Now I'm not going to lose this now. It's in my password manager. And then it asked me, where do I want to give them access to? And by default, it's going to give me this right here is my home directory. And then it's going to like create, if I leave anything in this, it's going to create a new directory to allow them to upload things to. And I don't want that. I want them to have access to this home directory right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click, empty that out. And then I'm going to give them unlimited quota and click create FTP account. Okay, so they won't even let us create this with the FTP name. So I'm going to call this FTP guy. And there we go. We have FTP guy. And now FTP guy can connect through an FTP client with this setup here. And actually they have this configure FTP client right here. And if I click on that, it's going to give us information that we need. So it gives us our server and it gives us our website. So let's go ahead and open FileZilla up now. And what we can do is quickly, we can either create a new connection here, or we can quickly connect to this with these quick connect settings up here. And so if I put in the host here, that's going to be the server. So if I put in the ftp.freeskills.website, that's that, and then the username was ftp guy at freeskills.website. And then my password was a password that I stored in my generator there. And then we need to connect to port 21. So let's try that. If I hit quick connect, it says it's an unknown secure certificate. I'm going to click always trust. And then what happens is that if the connection is successful, which in this case it is, let's just kind of talk a little bit about what this is. Okay, this is up here is going to have our connection information in this box. the left side here is going to have our files that are on our local computer, okay? And then the right side here is going to have our files that are on the server. So we can simply drag files over, and this is going to upload those files to our live server. So let's go ahead and do that. So in order to get to the files that we want to move over, I'm going to navigate here on my home computer, and I'm going to go to opt, and then we go to lamp, and then inside here I'm going to go to htdocs, and then this CMS folder right here, I'm going to click on that. Now down here you can see all of our files that are in our local computer that we can move over. And so I want to go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab everything in here, and let me just right click on here and make sure. Let's see if it looks like we have everything. Okay, yeah, it looks like we have everything, even our get.env file, which won't be correct, and we'll update that. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab everything by, I'm going to shift select. Now you can't select the the dot, that means your parent directory, so don't do that. But get everything that's in here, and then what we're going to do is, over here we have this, we're in the root of the remote site, so let's make sure we want to be there, and I think we do. And then I'm just going to drag this over and drop it right here. And as you see this, it queues up the files, and as it's queuing up the files here, it is putting them all in here. Now right now there's a lot of files, it looks like, and that is because of this .git directory. We could have excluded that and this would have gone insanely fast. So in fact, let's go ahead and stop this. Let's see, I should be able to stop this. They changed the interface a little bit. I haven't used FTP in a long time either. Cancel current operation. Yeah, it's not going to let us, I guess. I guess I could. Oh, right click and stop and remove all. All right, so I stop and remove all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the server, and I'm just going to right click on everything in here. I don't care about the FTP quota file that was already in there, and I'm going to delete everything that's in there. And so it'll take a little bit to delete what it has uploaded with the git. Once it's done, then I'm going to unselect all this, and then I'm going to select everything except for that .git, because we don't really need that. This usually goes a lot faster. I wonder if my internet connection is a little slower. It is getting hot in here. I might have to turn on my AC, which messes up with my sound a little bit. All right, so now we have an empty directory over here, and I've selected everything except for my .git, which is a git initialization, which I don't really want on my live server right now anyway. There may be instances where you do want to do that, but in this case I don't. So I'm going to drag only the files that I need over. And you can see that there's now a lot less queued files. And it's just going to go through and it transfers this. If I make this a little bigger, you can see it going through, and you can see the file sizes, and it's just uploading those files to the server one at a time. Now what some people do, and it's a little faster, is you might... and it's done already, but you might want to do something like zip all these into a zip directory and upload one file and then unzip it here, but I always mess that up, so I just go ahead and do it like this. Okay, now that we have all of our files over, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get that off the screen here, and let's go back to our file manager here, and if I reload, What? There we go. I guess I had to reload the whole screen. If I go to the public HTML directory, and what the heck? www? Nope. Freeskills.website, FTP guy. Ah, dang it. For whatever reason, our FTP client is put this in the wrong directory, and that really makes me mad. All right, so what we're gonna do, let's, man, my throat is whacked this morning. I apologize. I'm just going to click on home. I wanted access to the home directory here. And so what I'm gonna, and it's my fault for not noticing this, so I'm gonna just actually select everything in here. Well, I can't select everything. Let's see. I'm gonna go to the Freeskills website here. Yeah. So I'm just gonna right click. I'm gonna go to this, and I'm gonna right click on this and go to delete. Now we need to go back to our cPanel, and I don't know if they're going to let us change this guy. So what I'm going to do is delete this guy altogether. How come I can't put something into... It looks like they give us an FTP client already that's connected to the home directory. I'm not certain why they would I'm not certain why we can't just leave this empty. I'm gonna try this. Let's create a new guy and I'll call him the same thing, FTP guy. And I'm gonna attempt to use the same passwords and see if they let me. And so that, yeah, by default this is like creating this, and I think it's because I'm just gonna put this in here, a / and let's try this again. Okay, let us create it. Now let's see who we actually have access to. I'm gonna do the quick connect here. Abort previous connection and reconnect in the same tab. Okay, we're in good shape now. Now over here, I can actually see, I had to refresh, right click and refresh, but now we have this public HTML, and that's what we want to go into. I'm going to click that, this public HTML. And in here, I'm just going to go ahead and highlight everything that's in here. I don't need any of this, I don't think. I'm going to right click everything in here, and let's just delete this. And hopefully this won't take too long. If it takes a long time, I may pause the video and come back when it's done. Okay, so we have an empty directory, and make sure you're in the public _HTML. We're gonna do the same thing again where we copy all of our files into that directory on our server. And go ahead and leave this connection open when this is done, because we're going to actually use this to edit our .env file. You can see that each file is uploading here. Should be pretty quick. All right, so now it's done, and I got a little notification that it's done. So I'm gonna move this over, and now let's go back to our file manager here, and I'm gonna refresh. And now let's go to our public HTML directory, and now this looks like our files, which is awesome. Let's see, did it not? It doesn't show our hidden files there, but our FTP client does show them, so they are there. There may be a view type thing here we can change to see those, but all right, so we're good to go here. Man, my throat is scratchy. Really apologize about that, guys. But I don't want to delay shooting these videos, so we'll just have to deal with it together. So once we have this uploaded, we have our files on live. Let me go here and let's go back to our cPanel. And for now, what I want to do is I'm going to click this freeskills.website. It still isn't working. We got a server error here, and that's to be expected. Let me make sure that it's not just that, and let's try to visit this shared IP address directly. My connection is not secure, I get that. Proceed anyway. Come on, Google. Nah. So they're not gonna let us. That's not our, obviously not our public IP address. So anyway, so we have we have our files uploaded. Now we're going to need a database. So what we're gonna do is scroll down here in your cPanel and go to MySql database and actually go to the database wizard. And let's create a new database here. They're gonna prepend free JCRW on that, and so I'm just gonna do CMS on that. That'll create the database. Looks like it did create, well, MariaDB. Now we create a username, and so for the username here, let's just do, well, anything here. I'm gonna do secret. So it's gonna end up being, my username is gonna be free JCRW_secret. And then the password, let's go ahead and use the password generator. Just keep clicking this a few times till we get to something that looks good. And I'm gonna grab that and copy it. And then they make you tell you that you copied it, so that but anyway, I'll use that password. And what I'm gonna do is go to my password generator here, or my thing, and I'm just gonna add freeskillsdb as my name, and then I'm gonna paste my password here just to save that. And then for the username, it was free JCRW_secret, and I'm gonna save that. Again, this is Bitwarden. If you'd like it, it's free and it works on everything. It's kind of like a LastPass alternative. All right, so then I'm gonna go ahead and click create user. And what I'm gonna do for this user is just, you wanna choose what they have permission to do, and I'm gonna click all privileges. I want them to have all privileges. And then we'll click next step. And so now we have these databases. So if I return to MySql databases, you see my database here, and my user is here. What's really cool, if I go back to the dashboard here, now we can actually, in the databases, we can, where is that at? We actually can go, where is, I just saw this. I'm blind. I'm looking for phpMyAdmin. I'm sure you guys see it and are like, it's right there. It's right there. Click it. Emails. Well, it should be, in my opinion, it should be with the database stuff, but apparently it is not. So since, oh, here it is. It's right there. It's right there. Click it. All right, if you click that, I'm gonna turn my AC on, I'm sorry. It is very, very stuffy in here. I think that's one of the reasons I'm having a hard time breathing. All right, so we have this free JCRW website, and so this looks very familiar. This is just our PHP MyAdmin. And if I click here, we don't have any tables, and that's fine. I don't want any tables at this point, because what we're gonna do for the time being, just to make sure everything's running, is we're gonna actually copy the what's in our dev database over. So let me go ahead and move this over here. And what you're going to do is go to localhost PHP MyAdmin and then click on CMS, and you can see all the tables here. And what I'm going to do is go to export, and let's let's see here. Okay, sure, whatever. We'll click quick, and for the format, make sure you have SQL, and then hit go. And this is actually going to create a copy of our database in the form of a SQL file. And so if I go to show in folder, I put it in my downloads, okay? Now why that's cool is now I can go back, let me bring my other browser back over here. And what we can do is go to our PHP MyAdmin. Now this is on my live server, and I've got my free JCRW CMS selected here, and I'm going to go to import now, and I'm going to choose a file, and I'm going to go, it was in my downloads, and I'm just going to choose this cms.sql, and then I'm going to go down here and click go, and it's going to take a little bit of time. How are we doing on time, by the way? We're at 30 minutes. What I might do is pause the video until this is done. And of course, as soon as I paused the video, it was done. So now it created all of these tables and everything. And if you go and look, now we have all of our tables from our local machine are now on our live database. And in fact, all of my users, my articles, my categories, it's all here. Okay, so now let's just do a quick inventory of what we've done. We've purchased some hosting. In our case, we just use a shared hosting, which means there's a lot of different websites on this one machine, and they're renting out space on it. Okay, but that's all we need for this. So we got shared hosting. We've used an FTP client. In my case, I use FileZilla. There are others out there. We use FileZilla to transfer our files of our project to the public HTML directory on our shared hosting. The next thing that we've done is we created a database, and we have exported our data from our local machines database and imported that data into our live database. So there's no difference between our local database and our live database, except for it's more secure because there's a user that actually has a password now. So now what we need to do is we need to configure our project, because if I go to the freeskills.website, we have a HTTP error, and it's a 500, which means there's something wrong with our code or whatever, but our server's breaking. Likely this is an error that's being thrown from our database connection stuff, would be my guess. And so if it throws any sort of exception, it's going to show this. Now we don't want to show these on our, remember how we set up our php.ini file in XAMPP to show errors? On our live servers, you don't really want to show those errors because it gives information to people on the internet if something goes wrong that might be detrimental to you or might be a security issue. So what they do is they just say it isn't working, right? And there's nothing here that would give away anything about our server structure, our files, our database, anything like that, okay? They don't even know what kind of database we're using. All right, so what we're going to do now is let's drag back over this FTP, And what we want to do is we need to update our information, our .env file. So I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to click on View Edit. And what this is going to do is download this from our server and open it in our editor, and then we can edit that, and then we'll be able to re-upload it. Okay, so this is gonna, for me, this opens it up in Atom, which is fine. But this should look familiar to you. This is our file here, and we have all this information here. So let's do one thing. First and foremost, we need to change our root directory. On our local machine, we had it in a subdirectory, but we're not gonna have it in a subdirectory on our live server here. So we just use the /, okay? The next thing we know is wrong is the database name, the database host, the user, and the password. All of these things here are incorrect. So let's one at a time fix those. So in order to do that, let me actually move Atom to workspace 2, and I'm going to drag that in here. Alright, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to move this out of the way. We need to put in our information for our database. So if I go to our MySql databases, we can see here that this is our database name. So I can actually just copy that. So for DB name, we're going to remove this and place that right there. The next thing that we're going to do is we have to tell it the user. So in our case, it was free JCRW secret. So I'm going to copy that user name, and I'm going to put that in for our DB user. Okay. The next thing that we're going to need is our password. Now I stored my password here under the DB, so I'm going to click that to copy it to my password. But you'll get that from wherever you save that, and I'm going to put that in there, so you'll see it plainly. Which, don't screw me over here, guys. Which I'm going to fix. I'm going to get rid of all this by the time you guys see the video. All right, and then the last thing that we're going to need is the host. So let's make sure the host might just work with 127.0.0.1. So I'm going to save that actually and leave it and try that. But let's see if they give us any indication in the interface here about this. You know what? Let's go back to the dashboard and let's look over here. General information. Server information. No, I don't need that. Let's see. Statistics. Okay, I'm going to assume that it's going to be localhost, so we'll just leave 127.0.0.1, which means that the database is on the same host as the website. Okay, that does not mean our local host, which when we're on local, yes, it means that. The other thing is I saved this file, and when I save this, the FTP FileZilla is kind of watching that, and it popped up and it says, hey, a previously open file has changed. Do you want to re-upload it? And what I'm going to do is click yes, re-upload that. And so it transfers my locally saved file back up, and now if I were to look at this, and let's do that. If I go to the file manager here, and of course, let me refresh. Go to public HTML, and how come I can't see settings, show hidden files? Yep, save that. Alright, so now if I, oh, that downloads it. Let me right click on this and edit. I'm just gonna click edit. And it opens their little online editor, but you can see that the information that we put in our local machine is indeed updated on the live server. So I'm going to close that, And so now let's try this. Let's go back here and refresh. And boom, we have some issues. But for the most part, we can see that our website is working. And I can even see that who my authors are. We do have some issues here again. So let's see what some of these issues might be. Let me go to login. Okay, I'm guessing right now that one of the biggest issues that we're facing is that our htaccess file isn't being used because only on our home screen here is it loading, and if we try to navigate anywhere else, we have an issue, okay? And I'm betting because we don't have rewrite on or something like that. So let's go and see if we can figure that out. I'm going to go back to the cPanel main here. And let's see. See if we can find anything to do with the server configuration. Nope. So I'm going to click on this select PHP version to see if it takes us anywhere in here to, we'll just check our PHP settings. It does allow, okay, it is using 7.2, and then here's the extensions that are installed. We do need PDO MySql. I don't think this is our issue right now. If I go to options, let's see here. It does allow us to turn on our errors, so we could actually see on the screen what our errors are, and maybe that would be useful to do. So let's go ahead and try that. I'm going to turn that on, and we'll go back here and refresh here, and let's try to go to a page. Alright, it's saying that the controller, app controllers, blog controller does not exist. Blog category 0 does not exist. And so I do believe this is probably an issue with the htaccess for some reason. So let's see if we can see anything else in here. Namecheap allow.htaccess rewrite. It does look like the reason I think this, the reason I think this is happening, likely, is that What could be causing this issue? I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and come back when I've solved this issue. Okay, I have found the issue, or at least our first issue. What's happening is our HTTP access is working fine. It's actually a code problem, and it's a problem with our code. And let me show you why. First and foremost, let me comment out what I just changed. And if I refresh here, we got this problem where it's saying that our controller blog details 19, and if this looks weird to you, it's because there's no forward slashes in here. And so the problem is in our index.php file. What we're doing is we are replacing our root. So in this case, it's just a forward slash with empty. So it's getting rid of all of our forward slashes. So what we need to do is we need to put an if statement here. And we're going to say if root does not equal a forward slash, then we will put this in here. And what that's going to do is it'll allow it to still work on our local machines, but it will not replace that on the live. So I'm going to save that, and this is just going to push it up to the live server. So hopefully we won't have too many of these issues. Yes. Alright, so that will transfer it live, and now if I refresh, now it's saying the method blog action doesn't work. Right, because there is okay, so what we need to do probably here is if root is this, here's what's happening. If we don't take away that, then it's going to have an extra element in the array. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put an else statement here. So if the root is just equal to forward slash, we're going to do URL is equal to, and then we're going to ltrim this string, and we're going to trim off, let's see, URL, and what we're going to trim is the right or the leftmost forward slash. Let me save that, and hopefully that will. Alright, so that's pushing up to the live server through FileZilla. Now if we refresh, okay, we are in good shape now. We have all of this going. For some reason our pictures aren't working, but let's see, it does look like everything else is working. So let's see what this is. I'm gonna go to inspect here, see if we can solve this issue. App uploads featured images. App uploads. Well, I'm not sure what that's all about yet. Could be a permission issue again. There could be just something wrong with them. And you know what? Actually, I wonder if our settings in our FTP client was correct on this. It might have got corrupted. Yeah, these look. Let's see what the file size is. If I go to app, uploads, featured images, they are the correct file sizes. Let's see. So it's set to auto. It should be, because we probably want the files to be uploaded through binary. You know what, let's try that really quick. I'm gonna hit OK. Oops. I'm just gonna put binary for now and change that. And then let's try to re-upload these. I'm gonna drag them over. And we're just gonna overwrite and always use this action or apply to current queue only. Go back here, refresh. There we go. So that's an issue. So for whatever reason, uploading our files with the default settings, and I think it's because of the file names, it didn't associate and it tried to upload these as ASCII, I think, instead of binary. So now it looks like if I go to read more, yeah. So let's try to log in and see what happens here. I think everything's kind of up and running now. Let's do alright, I'm not going to add that. So now if I go here, I can go to author portal, and it looks like everything is actually looking really good once we got the pictures fixed and once we got our URL stuff fixed up. So I will be making that change to the main code base, so make sure you update this, or this will not work on a live server apparently. Alright guys, well I hope that's been informational. This is working just fine. I didn't check. Yeah, it looks like all of our other code is working as expected. And yeah, I'm happy with this. So this is on a live server on freeskills.website. Yeah, maybe you guys can go and look at that. I'm going to try to, off camera, get rid of all the security issues. I guess I'm going to have to edit this video to hide email addresses and whatnot, which is unfortunate, but that's the life of a creator. Alright guys, well I hope that this has been useful information to you and helps you get through to uploading your stuff to a live server. With that, please comment, like, and subscribe. It helps me more than you ever know. If you have a few extra dollars and you'd like to support me, you can support me on Patreon /freeskills. If you would like some sweet merch, you can go to freeskills.life. And with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and jump off here, and I will see you guys in the next chapter. Congratulations on making it this far. You're awesome. Keep it up.